Perhaps it is too soon in Orlando, so young that historical comparisons are unfair. The last time a dazzling point guard and a dominating center held such mutual promise, their team would win 5 NBA titles. It was LA Showtime, the Lakers of the 1980s. 21-year-old Shaquille O'Neal's game is built on his awesome power. He scores, rebounds, and blocks with explosive fury. Still raw, he is yet to develop Jabbar's complete arsenal. A fluid 6'7" point guard, 21-year-old Penny Hardaway mirrors the great magician of the Lakers. He, too, feeds the giant inside. They were the team of the 80s. Will this magical 1-2 punch make Orlando the team of the 90s?
This is the NBA on NBC. Today, it's the Charlotte Hornets versus the Orlando Magic.
The home of the Magic, Orlando Arena, the usual sellout of over 15,000 fans, and their enthusiasm is well-founded this year. The Magic have won 6 in a row. That is a franchise record, and they're moving up the ranks of the East. They trail the best record, Atlanta, by only 5, and are moving in on New York in the Atlantic, only 3 games behind the Knicks. Meanwhile, the Charlotte Hornets, stung with big injuries this season to their top stars, are 3.5 games off the 8th spot and a possible playoff berth after their very successful season a year ago. Hello, everyone. I'm Dick Enberg, along with Steve Jones. Welcome to our NBA Game of the Week. And the Hornets indeed do come in trying to manufacture a victory. They've won only 1 game in February.
It has been a tough month for them. And, Dick, when you talk about stinging, well, the 2 big stingers for the Charlotte Hornets, they have been taken out of the lineup. And anytime you lose 40 points and 20 rebounds, you're not going to be able to hurt your opponents a great deal. But the guys that are trying to pick up the slack, Dale Curry, he's still been looking for that 6th Man of the Year award, and Eddie Johnson, well, he's found the fountain of youth. He's still getting the ball in the hole.
So they're going to have to find some scoring from outside. They have picked up Frank Brakowski from Milwaukee. More on him later. On the other hand, the Orlando Magic, their 2 big stars, one a rookie from Memphis State, another a second-year man, just 21, and they are more than healthy.
Well, they're more than healthy, and Shaquille O'Neal has given the Orlando Magic and all of their fans more than one thing to smile about. He's amongst the leaders in several categories for the NBA. Number 1 in points, and you can see that Shaquille O'Neal, he's got a game face on. He means business.
He's the only one in the NBA with those kind of MVP numbers in the top 5 and 4 categories. And coming up, the starting lineups as we take a look at one of the mighty dynamos of the league, the shortest man, biggest heart perhaps, Muggsy Bogues, ready to work.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by the beer that's colder, bolder, yet smooth as ice. Molson Ice from Canada, the land where ice was born. By Toyota and their full line of quality cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. And by McDonald's. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
The Orlando Arena, the O-Arena, the fans of the Magic ready to try to extend a winning streak against the Charlotte team that is 1-9 in February. The backcourt for the Hornets, the mighty Mike, Muggsy Bogues with a former 76er Hersey Hawkins. The front line rebuilt, the European League of CBA experiences. Conlon, he's had 2 back-to-back games of 16. Wingate likes to run the floor, good defense, and the newest member of the Hornets, Frank Brakowski, who led Milwaukee in scoring when acquired just before the trading deadline. Alan Bristow in his 3rd season with Charlotte. The Orlando Magic looking for their won 6 in a row, already a franchise mark. The talented rookie from Memphis State, Hardaway, with a shooter, Nick Anderson, on the back line. Shaquille O'Neal, 7'1" and 305 pounds. Scott from Georgia Tech is their three-point shooter. Avent from Seton Hall, acquired from Milwaukee as well in mid-season. The head man, Brian Hill, in his first season, former star at Kennedy College in Wahoo, Nebraska. Brian Hill, he's got smiles. His team is playing well. Well, with more on this matchup of two of the young teams in the East, let's go to Hannah Storm.
Thanks, Dick. Well, what a Hornets debut for center Frank Brickowski. Here he was traded from Milwaukee on Thursday. His first assignment, national television against Shaquille O'Neal. He will be playing against a bit of a hobbled Shaq. Shaq was injured on Wednesday night when the Pacers' Derek McKee ran into his left knee. The knee is still bothering him. He told me he's in quite a bit of pain, and he bumped the knee again during a walkthrough this morning. He tried to wear a knee brace, but was too uncomfortable, so he's going to wear knee pads during the game today. Meanwhile, what about Frank Brickowski? Well, he says don't expect him to stop Shaq, and don't expect him to be a savior for the injury-hobbled Hornets. However, Brickowski told me he thinks he can do one thing. He's the leading scorer in Milwaukee, and he can provide some much-needed scoring in the low post with the Charlotte Hornets. Not much seems to be going well for the Hornets lately. They showed up for their practice here in Orlando yesterday at a local Baptist church, and they were locked out. It seems that the pastor had the wrong practice time. Dick?
Divine intervention for the Hornets, but they finally did get to work out, and even then had to use T.R. Dunn, an assistant coach, to put 10 men on the floor so they could go a 5-on-5. So Alan Bristow, he's trying to be patient. The good news for Charlotte is that Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning are expected to return, and they feel in the final month of the year they can make a run for that playoff spot.
The best time for a team to make up some ground is in March and April, when you have a lot of conference play and you have a chance to play opponents that are in your division or in your conference. You beat them, you pick up a full game.
These two teams have split their previous two games this year. Shaq O'Neal goes against Conlon on the jump. O'Neal motivated, you can be sure. He smiled about how funny he thought the All-Star game was, but he is motivated, but it was a maturing process. This is Hardaway, clear to the hole. At 6'7", and he can do that. A great leaper and driver. Bogues to Wingate. And Hawkins outside, unable to connect. The rebound by Avent. 2-0 Magic as they take it to the offensive end. Look at Bogues. He's 16 inches shorter than the man he's guarding today, Hardaway.
They're going to try to stay in the paint as much as they can and bring the ball inside. They know that there's not a lot of shot blocking out there for the Charlotte Hornets.
Bogues trying to set up. Hawkins couldn't connect. This is Nick Anderson making it 4-0 Orlando.
In the first two games, there were a lot of points scored, and you can expect it's going to be a track meet this afternoon, and the Charlotte Hornets are used to getting up and down the floor. Going to have to make sure they get transition defense.
Brickowski's first shot as a Hornet, not there, but Hawkins picked up the loose ball, sets up Conlon underneath. Marty Conlon, who played at Providence. He signed a contract now for the rest of the year after a couple of 10-day deals.
See if they can get some defensive pressure on the ball before they try to dot down and double-team O'Neal.
Brickowski knocks it away, 11 seconds on the clock.
Nick Anderson got loose on a sprint out, and he has been real happy to see the change in the lineup because he's got to get back to the position where he's most dominant, and that is the scoring position, the off guard. He scores off the inbound play.
Wouldn't be that easy. 6-2 Orlando. Charlotte has given up more points than any team in the NBA. Bogues unable to connect from outside, and here comes Anderson on the run for the Magic. Avent back to Anderson. Rebound Hawkins has 3 already. Bogues left open. Couldn't hit the layup. Gets it back on the rebound to Conlon.
This is a shot he has to make.
6-4 Orlando.
If Muggsy can make that shot along with his penetration, then he can make the game much easier for the front line of Brickowski, Conlon, and David Wingate.
Knocked away from O'Neal and picked up by Brickowski. Bogues on the run to Conlon. Conlon has it stripped by Hardaway. Hardaway, one of the best in the league in steals. Dennis Scott. Powering in is Shaq, and a foul is called. That steal by Hardaway ties the Orlando team record for steals in a season. It's Hardaway's 128.
O'Neal is limping. It looks as though the knee, he bumped it again, is bothering him right now. They're going to get Tree Rollins in the ball game. We'll see if we get the contact with right there as he's coming in.
So Shaq O'Neal, who ran kneecap to kneecap with Derek McKee in a game a week ago, and that has been aggravated, and he is in considerable pain. When it happened, there's a foul. Reaching in, Bogues along with Conlon. Conlon draws the foul.
He is writhing in pain over there on the sideline, and that is a huge story for the Orlando Magic.
When he was injured in the game, he was flat on his face for some 3 minutes in pain. Everyone thought it was much more serious, but returned to play in that game. Hawkins on the long rebound, and Hersey unable to connect. Out of bounds to Charlotte.
They have to finish their transition opportunities. There's no way with O'Neal on the sideline that they can't think about challenging the basket and making sure they get it to go in. And that's an easy scoring opportunity for Hawkins he'd love to have back.
Hardaway using those long arms to deny Bogues. And Bogues, who has the best assist to turnover ratio in the league. He's had that honor 4 times in his career, and looks as if it'll make it 5. And Hardaway, more than just an offensive player.
Well, he's done an excellent job with his long arms of controlling Muggsy Bogues. He's out there accepting the challenge, putting pressure on the ball, which most guys will not do against Bogues. They want to get off of him.
Nick Anderson unable to hit. Avent, who's had trouble scoring and misses 2 easy ones. He's had a miserable time the last few games. Ball is kicked to Charlotte. It's 6-4, but the big story now is Shaq O'Neal. Here's Hannah.
Well, Shaq O'Neal is with the trainer Lenny Courier right now. They've just wrapped an ice pack onto the knee. That's the way they've been treating it, Dick, since he initially injured that left knee on Wednesday night in a game against the Pacers. The trainer did want Shaq to wear a neoprene brace today for this game. Shaq said the brace was uncomfortable, so he went out and started the game in knee pads, and apparently he has bumped it and aggravated that injury again. Dick?
Thanks, Hannah. Hersey Hawkins ties it at 6. O'Neal wore old-fashioned knee guards in the game on Friday night against New Jersey. Nick Anderson for 3.
Yeah, what made him old-fashioned were those stripes that he had on him.
Well, it matched the stripe in the Orlando Magic uniform. I thought it was very chic.
You see, he's got on regular knee pads now. He doesn't have an old-fashioned knee pads as we take a look at the ice being applied to the knee.
Certainly, if any the fans can identify with that picture, it's the Charlotte Hornets fans losing 2 Dream Teamers for a big chunk of the season.
Former teammates and Anthony Avent trying to get him tracked inside, finally gets the second one to go in.
Avent, who's averaged only 3.8 a game in the last 5, despite playing 33 minutes a game. Foul as Brakowski hit before the shot. Avent with the foul.
The best thing that Brakowski brings him is his ability to score inside and his ability to pass the ball from the high post position. So when they go into a passing game, he's looking to become a passer or get a cut down low where he can make a shot.
Wingate rattles it out, and it goes off the hands of Tree Rollins, who came here as an assistant coach and has been activated and gives this team all of the 17 years of his marvelous experience in the league. Second oldest in the league.
And they told him when they made him a player for keeps that they only had the minimum salary to pay him. He said, well, that's an improvement over what I'm making as an assistant coach.
Yeah, to be exact, Rollins was making 110 a year as an assistant, and they moved him all the way up to 150. Jack O'Neal spends that on his telephone each month. Hardaway misses. Kept alive for a moment by Rollins, and then Conlon sets up Bogues. Bogues streaking in and has it knocked away by Avent.
He was too fast. Avant was not quick enough in the lane. You see him pointing to his head, but he had Hersey Hawkins behind him and was trying to set him up for a three, and Avant was still coming back and was able to step in and knock it away.
Look at Bogues. He can almost hide in that huddle.
Looking for Hersey Hawkins.
And Hawkins, a great shooter, gives the lead to the Hornets for the first time. 4 for him. Just under 7 minutes left the opening quarter here in a very quiet Orlando arena.
Dennis Scott as a starter has been very effective, but they have yet to get him a shot as they've just been trying to push the ball inside.
Bukowski knocked it away for a moment. Anderson partially deflected by Wingate. Here comes Muggsy.
I'm not sure if you're Hersey Hawkins, you give up the ball to Marty Conlon when they're looking for you to be the big story at the offensive end, but Conlon got it going.
12-8, 6 points for Conlon.
They're impatient back here now. They won 6 in a row, and they're telling this team to play some ball. They didn't say that when Hardaway dunked. They didn't say that when they got that layup. But O'Neal goes out, and they slow down.
Well, and I think the crowd had the life taken out with the injury to Shaq, as they're all wondering just how bad that might be. Foul on the rebound. And with it, we'll have our first timeout. 5:53 remaining in first quarter.
The game had just got underway, and Shaquille O'Neal was trying to power his way inside and had a collision with Frank Bukowski and came up ailing on that knee that had been very tender for him.
It was kneecap on kneecap, and that's what happened on Wednesday night. McKee on the backside coming in to defend on the triple team. He ran into the knee of O'Neal, and Shaq was down some 3 minutes before recovering and returning to that game. So that was great relief for the Orlando fans. But now, although he got through a tough game on Friday night where he tumbled into the stands going for a loose ball, he is re-injured. Let's see if he'll return. Hannah?
Well, Dick, it looks like Shaquille O'Neal will return. He asked the trainer, Lenny Courier, to take the ice pack off of his knee. He's pulled his knee pad back on, but he also told the trainer that he's in a lot of pain. Keep in mind, he re-aggravated that knee injury this morning during his walkthrough. He bumped it, and of course, just now during the game as well. But Shaq has told the coaches and the trainer he wants to play.
He looks like a fighter that's been hit, and he is in pain, and he looks dazed over there right now, and I'm sure they're trying to hold him off until he can get physically right inside the Bukowski.
Over 3 Rollins, and this is a 12-2 run, so not only is he dazed, his teammates, the Hornets, are stunned and have been very quiet offensively as Charlotte with a 6-point lead.
Well, the game changes. Muggsy Bogues finally had a chance to get back at Hardaway, who had picked his pocket twice, stole it. Hardaway reaches in and makes the recovery. But right here, the size of Bogues, he eludes him, and Hardaway can't find the basketball because it's in Muggsy's hands.
Hardaway with a tip, and Wingate almost stole it for Charlotte. Jeff Turner makes his first appearance for the Magic. Scott. Out there, Rollins kicks it home. Well, they're going to give it to Nick Anderson. Anderson and Rollins both up around the rim. 14-10 Charlotte, and the turnover by Hardaway. Orlando yet to make a perimeter shot. They're 0 for 6.
Good defensive effort that time by Bukowski, and they can gamble a lot more. Scott knocks down a 3 because they don't have the real dominant inside play of O'Neal. Tree Rollins has never been a big-time scorer, and he's in a preserving state right now.
3D Dennis Scott was 5 for 7 from three-point range on Friday night against the Nets. Here's Bukowski around Rollins to send in a soft hook. 16-13 Hornets. Part of their problem in this rough time for them, 1-9 in February, is they just have not been able to get any early leads. Rollins feeling Bukowski is fouling him a couple of times and finally gets the call.
Now, if you're Alan Briscoe, you don't want Bukowski making these kinds of fouls. O'Neal getting ready to check back in along with Dale Curry. He has to wait for the shooter Tree Rollins, and I asked Tree why he was shooting free throws before the game. He said, well, I might get fouled because they're so used to doubling up on Shaquille O'Neal, but it's been single coverage by Bukowski, and he picks up a foul. Bristol does not want to see him in early foul trouble.
And here come a couple of the Hornets you talked about off the bench. Eddie Johnson and Del Curry will give them strong outside shooting.
If the Charlotte Hornets are to have success, Eddie Johnson, Dale Curry have to be in the zone. They have to come out smoking and really force the defense of the Magic to extend and be concerned about their three-point shooting and their deep twos.
Bogues coast to coast, and he can't hit the layup. Hawkins with another offensive rebound. He's been a terror on the glass. He has 5 caroms already. Bogues got around the kneecaps of Hardaway, and there's the turnover, knocked out of bounds off of Bogues. Bogues thought it was last touched by Nick Anderson. Here's O'Neal back, and that brings the crowd back into the game. Donald Royal joins him, number 5 Royal. On the Notre Dame star for Digger Phelps. Jack was out 5 minutes and 45 seconds. He gets the ball right away, and illegal defense against Charlotte. A warning. 3:41 remaining, opening quarter. Charlotte leads at 18-15.
Looking for O'Neal again. Every time he comes in the game, they want to try to get the ball in, force the defense to react to his presence in the middle, and then get Anderson or Dennis Scott in a scoring opportunity blocked by Percy Hawkins.
Kenny Gaddison in the game for the first time. He was a doubtful. Gaddison with a tip, and Hardaway pulls it off for the Magic. Curry with a steal. The Bogues in a 2-on-1. Oh, what a fake by Bogues, but they did a little bit too much on the carry by Muggsy.
You know what he's saying? That's my move. I make a move all the time, and I didn't palm it. You can see an excellent passing lane defensive play by Del Curry. Then a little stop and go. Looked pretty good.
Doesn't feel so good for Muggsy. 3 minutes to go in the quarter. And a whistle inside and a hold against Charlotte. Gaddison is first.
His first 4th team foul. Timeout, Hornets.
And a timeout. 2:58 left in the quarter. Charlotte by 3. Back in the home of the franchise, Shaquille O'Neal, youngest ever to be an All-Star at age 20. A bruised kneecap is the report. And in this game, Steve, he's going to have contact on that knee constantly.
He is, and what he's going to have to be able to do is play his normal game without, dealing with the pain at the same time without making a big adjustment. And we'll see if they can get him a ball inside. Gaddison got caught on a hold again. But whenever you're hurt, it's the amount of pain that you can take without changing your game and still be effective, and he wants to get the ball inside.
There's that spin move, and he lays it in. That's the first point of the game, 18-17. Shot on Del Curry. Eddie Johnson, the veteran, draws Royal. Gaddison against O'Neal. Nicely done. First points for the ex-Old Dominion star.
Now they're sending people at O'Neal. They know that Gaddison cannot handle him down low, and they're just trying to overpower him.
Royal with the offensive rebound and the putback and a foul. Percy Hawkins with a foul.
You know, a lot of people say all Shaquille O'Neal does is dunk, but that's a nice spin move and an adjustment because he's too far under the basket to get that first scoring opportunity. When they double, they've got to remember to box out from the other side. Nobody boxed Donald Royal. That's how he got that easy chance. He gets a three-point play.
And ties it up at 20. 20 is with 2:00 left in the first quarter. It's a bonus for that. Taken away. Anderson streaking down court to Dennis Scott. 3D has 5. Orlando reclaiming the lead. Very short 5 on the court for the Hornets. Del Curry from outside. Rebound Gaddison. Curry again.
Well, Curry, during warm-up, was not missing, and he feels that within the first 3 or 4 shots, once he comes out on the floor, he's going to know whether he's in the zone, and if he is, he'll be looking to put it up every time he touches it.
Hawkins on Anderson. The long pass over the head of Dennis Scott. 55, David Wingate returning for the Charlotte Hornets. Talking about Del Curry, who brings it into Bogues. Curry has the best scoring average of any non-starter in the NBA, up around 16 a game as he goes for a possible 6th man award.
Del Curry has been mentioned many times for that award, but has yet to capture it, and this may be his year. Near turnover.
Eddie Johnson having trouble as well. Over for Shaq, and what a tough 2 for Eddie Johnson, his first points of the game. Charlotte back in front by a basket. Oh, he is then in the range, the zone for 3D. Scott, I told you 5 for 7 on Friday night against the Nets. He's hit 2 already in this first quarter and leads all scorers with 8.
You cannot let Dennis Scott set, and once he gets a rhythm, he's going to be looking to shoot and be a factor in changing how you defend. Muggsy Bogues still not consistently able to knock down that 15-foot jump shot.
24-second clock is off. Orlando with the 1-point lead on the ball. Hardaway hawked by Bogues. Takes it to the hole. And the charge is the call against
Hardaway. He felt that he had the position, and it was Gaddison that came into him. But the call goes against Hardaway. There's 3.6 seconds left.
Don't get that call in the NBA very often. Bogues has it knocked away by Hardaway. Curry! And that's the end of the quarter. A quarter that finds Orlando ahead by 1, but gaining 1. More importantly, that one, the big one. Shaq O'Neal. It's 25-24.
I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, Mike, I got my own shoes. My own initials on it.
Yeah, well, I have my own shoes with my own name on it.
Well, can you do this in your shoe, Mr. I don't play anymore?
Yeah, but I don't have to. I'm retired.
I'm not. My shoes got this strap.
Laces.
Black. White. White's wimpy. And you can't keep it clean.
Size 13.
16.
Ooh. Thank you.
Mine's got more.
I went ball first.
Did not.
Did too.
Consecutive sellout here at the arena. 25-24 Magic as they go for win number 7 in a row. Muggsy Bogues does a lot of things. Sometimes it's a small print appropriate to the man of 5'3" stature. He's out-rebounded Shaq by 2.
Yeah, freeze it right there. Because he'll have much to say if he can keep that number up. Scott Skiles is in the ball game, and the game will change slightly for the Orlando Magic. They won't be quite the same in terms of sprinting out every time, but they'll be better in the half court. Scott Skiles has always been excellent in making decisions with the ball, particularly with this group of players.
And Tony Bennett makes his first appearance for Charlotte. He's matched against Skiles. Eddie Johnson with a turnaround. Rebound O'Neal. He's drafter Bogues. Sunday sermon crowd at the moment. Very quiet and attentive. Shaq O'Neal now has 4. Gaddison to Curry. Well done.
Two guys that have to score for them now with the lineup out on the floor that the Hornets have is Eddie Johnson and Del Curry. The other three, Bennett, Gaddison, and Wingate, are primarily defensive players, and they'll take whatever bonus points they can get.
Shaq with his first dunk of the game.
That's what they're waiting for. You hear the people say, yes, yes, yes. Well, they're looking for O'Neal to get it over the top.
Curry had to alter his shot because of O'Neal. Anderson with a good spin move. As he drives past Curry. 5-point lead for the Magic. The veteran Johnson with a runner. Gaddison misses the tough dunk, and it goes to Orlando.
O'Neal has been overpowering here at the start of the second quarter play. Leans in and under, and then he'll come back with one of the thundering efforts that gets the people off their feet. And so they're happy that O'Neal is okay.
And the Hornets at the second shortest NBA team to Cleveland. And that's to the liking of that big front line of Orlando.
The problem with them being so small is that they're a perimeter team, and most of the shots have to come from deep, and these guys have to be accurate. Del Curry misses that one.
One shot and out, and then you have Anderson going the other way for the easy two. That's the problem. If you miss, they break the other way and get the easy two, and 10 points for Nick Anderson to lead the Magic, who open up now a 7-point fold.
NBA on NBC is brought to you by Jeep and Eagle, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. By Pepsi, who reminds you to be young, have fun, drink Pepsi. And by MasterCard. MasterCard, it's more than a credit card, it's smart money.
Back in Orlando, where the Magic have a 7-point lead, Shaq with 6. He has one of his patented dunks. Some have been critical of O'Neal that offensively that's all he can do. Well, his head coach Brian Hill doesn't buy that language at all.
I think there's been tremendous development in Shaquille O'Neal, and I find it very amusing that Shaq bashing is quite popular this year. I've heard him called an ordinary player, a guy that's not committed to what he does. Well, first of all, since the first day of training camp, nobody's worked harder on our basketball team. He came back in great shape. He came back with a more diversified back-to-the-basket game, which he continues to work on. He's not just a dunker, but if you can dunk the ball, dunk the ball. That's the highest percentage shot in the game, so there's no reason to stop dunking the basketball.
He also went on to say that he'll take criticism. He's a star, and a lot of superstars in any sport don't take kindly to coaches being critical of their work. But he says he'll accept it and be motivated by it.
You can see what's happened here in the second quarter of play. Shaquille O'Neal, Nick Anderson have gotten hot, and Charlotte is struggling to score. That one's knocked away by O'Neal.
His first block. He's averaging over 3 a game. Scott into traffic. Shaq kept it alive. And Skiles will set it up.
Brokowski's come back in the game, so that'll take some pressure off of the defense and offense as well. Brokowski can do a better job of getting his body on him if he can stay out of foul trouble.
Wingate with a foul on Scott.
Coming inside, and that's where they have yet to really have an impact on the Magic, is getting close to the rim. O'Neal knocked that one away.
Sends Shaq O'Neal's closest friend on this Orlando team, Dennis Scott, to the line, and you're all well aware of Shaq's comments when Scott was rumored to be part of a potential trade for Danny Manning when that all was in the works, and Shaq didn't like it at all, didn't want to lose his buddy.
Hey, since he's become a starter, his game has jumped up dramatically. He was unhappy as a guy coming off the bench with just under 10 as a starter. He's at 17 and a half. He's got 10 in this ball game.
That's 8 unanswered points by the Magic. Percy Hawkins returns for Charlotte. So does Brokowski. 6 on the clock as Curry from the corner. 6 on the clock. 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 6 on the clock This doesn't really lift off the floor at all. Just gets up on his toes and hits that long ranger.
It is a quick release and perhaps the quickest in the league. And if he can catch it and you give him a bit of daylight, he'll be able to get it away. Magic coming inside O'Neal.
And a foul against Brakowski. His third already. Acquired from Milwaukee for Mike Jaminski and a future #1 draft pick. Tim Kempton will check in for the former Penn State star Brakowski.
Brakowski knows that that's an overpowering matchup. What he's trying to do is get his body on him and hope that they'll get to O'Neal before or after that first dribble. They're not coming, and in that case, he's just going to be overpowered. He tried to reach in to prevent him from getting closer. This is the danger zone for Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, we talked about his strengths. This is his weakness, and it's impacted the whole team. Free throw shooting. The fact that Shaq has been hitting just over 50% means that Orlando's second worst in the league from the line. He gets 1 out of 2. In fact, if he were shooting just 70%, O'Neal would be averaging over 30 a game. That'd be 88 more points for him. He's going to be to the line an awful lot. Wide open Curry, but O'Neal is there, and he makes the block. Curry gets it back.
Yeah, he had to get out there where he could see. Once he could get away and see, he was able to bank that one in. Curry's got all 7 for the Hornets.
Great pass from Anthony Bowie, and Shaq had nowhere to go but straight down the hole. 8-point lead for the Magic.
Percy Hawkins.
Hawkins with 10 to lead Charlotte.
In order to prevent Scott Skiles, Bowie, Royal from lobbing the ball inside, they've got to have big-time pressure on the passer.
Good defensive play by Charlotte, and a trip. O'Neal's presence on the defensive end.
Well, from the way that O'Neal is moving, the bruised kneecap is not a bother for him. He's active at both ends of the floor, and of course this is his favorite, catch it and throw it down.
You able to do that much, Snapper, in your days in the ABA? Did you get many of those?
Now catch it and throw it down. You don't catch it and throw it down from deep out on the floor.
You didn't like all that presence. You like to be out there with G Solo.
That's my shot right there, Dale Curry.
10 for Curry. It's 38-34. Just missed a tray as the Hornets rally to pull within 4. 7 to go in the opening half.
Since Skiles has gone to the bench, he hasn't been nearly as effective as the point guard. At the start of the year, he had some big games, and everyone was talking about him as a possible acquisition for the New York Knicks. But he has been struggling to find a rhythm.
Tony Bennett with a foul. Sends Donald Royal to the line.
Bennett just reaching in, and he didn't think he got much of him. But the officials say Donald Royal will get to the line.
Donald Royal, who started his professional career, really developed as a pro player in Israel for the champions there, Tel Aviv. He averaged over 20 a game playing in 90-91. He bounced around, but he's found himself a nice home here in Orlando.
When you're a role player, you need to find the right place to be a factor, and Royal is a slashing, active player. When you've got a presence like Shaquille O'Neal, and it is Dale Curry here in the quarter, he's got 11, then he's more effective.
Eddie Johnson with an excellent feed to Curry, who now has a dozen, a three-point game.
Now you see how many people they're sending to O'Neal now. No more of this one-on-one business, knowing that Kempton's going to get overpowered.
No basket, but O'Neal with his size and power muscling that one in. But the foul before the shot. We have a timeout.
Got it. All-star Scottie Pippen isn't horsing around in this game of horse against the local talent. There's no foul play involved with Mavs rookie Lucius Harris. Off the court, his game is pigeon. The problem is keeping Mavs best friend away.
Fortunately, shot with 8 all the other ones.
Ahmad visits Mavs rookie Jamal Mashburn, so watch Inside Stuff next Saturday on NBC.
Now that's the inside stuff.
3 rounds, and some big names chasing him. Just a shot back. San Diego, check that in San Diego, this championship out in La Jolla. Craig Stadler just a shot back. And Payne Stewart and Hal Sutton are also in the running. Stadler has never won that championship, and of course there have been some ugly memories stirred. The towel incident where he was DQ'd a couple of years ago. So stay tuned. The final round from San Diego, and then off to Phoenix for the Knicks and the Suns.
Bennett has come in and done a very effective job against Scott Skiles. That's allowed Muggsy Bogues to get a little bit more rest and see if they can get the ball inside to O'Neal, make the defense adjust.
39-36 Orlando with the lead. O'Neal with 7. Skiles over Bennett. Scott Skiles.
The crowd knows that O'Neal has trouble right now reading where to throw the basketball, so they're all yelling Skiles when it goes in. He finds him and knocks down his first 2.
Eddie Johnson wide open, can't connect. Hawkins bats it away, but Hardaway with a pickup. And here comes Penny, that number 1 for good reason. That matches nickname. 4:25 at Memphis State. They've retired his jersey with the Tigers.
They'll wait for O'Neal. 6 on the shot clock.
Kempton puts a body on him. Tipped in by Royal. And with all the concentration to stop Shaq, that does free up the rest of the front line for Orlando. Royal now with a half dozen off the bench.
As I said, that allows a player like Donald Royal to be more of a factor.
Curry way off in his shot. Skiles takes it in. Sets up Bowie. 9-point lead for the Magic. First points for Bowie.
Where Charlotte has been hurt is when they miss that first perimeter shot. They don't get back defensively. They're not able to control them. And the shooters, and they have excellent shooters in Bowie, Hardaway, Donald Royal out on the perimeter, Scott Skiles. They're going to make those shots.
Charlotte about to send back 3 of the starters. And Skiles left free for a 3. O'Neal. So Shaq on the rebound. He now has 11. Leading scorer in the league, leading percentage shooter. Bennett working on a hook. Oh, my. Tony Bennett. He may not be singing, but he's starting to hum.
Well, O'Neal is showing that he does have more in his arsenal than just the dunk. He's been able to get it off the glass. He thought he got fouled on that play. The book on Tony Bennett is he will sing when he sings Muggsy Bogues. Get ahead. The scorer's table. He knew he was coming out. I'm going to get something up before I go. Now he has a chance for a 3-point play, and they make an adjustment. Tony, you stay in. Dale Curry, you take a break.
Well, that was well-earned 3-point play for Tony Bennett from Wisconsin, Green Bay, went to high school in Green Bay. And of course, well, we got a little collision here at our scoreboard, and boy, does that make a mess when the coffee hits those marker pens of mine. The notes are in a sea of Orlando coffee.
You're supposed to catch the ball.
Well, I did. I got the catch, but he wouldn't let me shoot. He was too tight on it. Hardaway over Bogues.
Hardaway has yet to really look to exploit his matchup with Muggsy Bogues. That time he jumped over him, but he's only taken a couple of shots. Good defensive pressure, but they get a foul against Anthony Bowie.
Foul number 14, Anthony Bowie.
And that's his first.
Third team foul.
Have you cleaned up yet?
Well, I'm mopping up here. I'm not bad in the kitchen. The foul on Bowie, and with 3:50 to go in the half, it's the Hornets down by 8. Gaddison set up by Bogues. Rebound Royal.
And that's the shot you don't want Kenny Gaddison shooting near steal.
Bogues getting his hand on it. Nick Anderson hits the side of the board. Perfect pass to Royal. So Royal in the right spot for about 3 baskets here in the opening half.
They have to box Donald Royal out. No one is doing it. He's had 3 offensive rebounds and put back, and that's helped them build the lead to 10.
No one has allowed more points than the Hornets on the season. They average 109 to the opponents. Unable to connect was Hawkins, wanted the foul. Nick Anderson the other way for the Magic. Hardaway! That's what that big 6'7" guard can do for you. He runs the court and can play inside sometimes the way Magic did for the Lakers. Bennett from the corner, and he's 3 for 3 from the floor.
And the problem for the Hornets is they've been able to score. They have not been able to stop their opponent. And the only way they can really do it is by aggressive ball pressure. They get Anthony Bowie out of control that time.
Gaddison with the block, and with it a timeout. 2 minutes and 48 seconds left in the half.
You can see that when Anthony Hardaway is out on the wing, he's a flyer. And Nick Anderson said, "You've done it for me. Let me do it for you."
New York. Coming up on the Prudential halftime report, we'll take a look at the second game of our doubleheader, the Knicks and the Suns. That one starts at 5:30 Eastern Time. Also, I'll be joined by Julia Serving, and the doctor will analyze the first half of the Hornets and the Magic. That's at halftime. Right now, back to Orlando to rejoin Dick Enberg and Snapper Jones, who appear, as I glance over to the monitor, to be in the midst of a serious crisis. What is the problem, Dick?
No problem at all, Bob. Right now, you know, Shaq O'Neal is from San Antonio. Yes,
you
right
can't
there.
read that anymore.
I can't read it.
Run together on you,
It's melting away, my spotting board. Who did that to me?
That's the last time you get coffee.
You get the name of that truck that went by here?
Who did? Always watch the ball.
But I thought I made a good reception. Well, nobody's perfect.
That's how you handle that, huh?
53-43. The Magic lead it with 2:48 to go in the half.
Conlon's back in the ball game, and let's see if he can give some defensive help inside to Kenny Gaddison and keep Donald Royal off the glass.
Conlon with a foul on Royal as he made his move inside. First foul on Conlon. New York Knicks very hungry and needy for a victory are in Phoenix. That's our late game in prime time. And of course Orlando and their fans watching the results of the Knickerbockers very closely. They trail by only 3 games in the Atlantic to the Magic behind Pat Ewing and the Knicks. You'll see that at 5:30 Eastern time. Royal misses the first, hits the second. Biggest lead of the game for Orlando, 11. Anderson, Hawking, Curry, Gaddison to Bogue. Hawkins and Bowie gets him with a bump, his second foul.
One of the concerns with Hersey Hawkins is catching the ball out on the wing, and the defender is very fearful of him shooting very quickly, either shooting a 3 or getting a quick deuce. And Anthony Bowie came out on his toes and went right by him. That was Hersey Hawkins, and that's the way he picked up that foul.
Curry for 3. Conlon got away with a push-off, unable to connect, and Bowie with a rebound. Royal has trouble handling it, and then the foul against the Hornets. Gaddison gets the call, his second foul. 2:06 left before the intermission.
The wrong people are picking up fouls. The big guys are picking up the fouls, and those are the ones they need. Del Curry thought he had a foul there. Royal stays under control, and Gaddison, trying to make a block, picks up the personal, his second. Team is in the penalty.
Royal is averaging 8 a game, already has 9 in this half, make it 10. But we talked about the loss of Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning, the 2 Dream Teamers, all-stars for Charlotte. But then they also lose Scott Burrell with an Achilles and LaRon Ellis with mononucleosis. So they're 4 men on the front line out. So they really had to do some patchwork in the last month and a half to try to put somebody on that front line.
With Burrell and with Ellis, they beat the New York Knicks with Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson down. So those guys certainly were making valuable contributions. Gaddison trying to get to the hole.
Around 56-45. Take Hardaway inside with Bogue. And then clear out. Royal, the man left alone. So then the second man to Shaq as he moved into the hole, and Royal freed up. up to lead all scorers now with 13. A big half for Donald Royal.
Yeah, Royal has turned out to be a major problem, and he's feeding off of what they do against Shaquille O'Neal and picking up all the gravy points.
Percy Hawkins with a quick trigger, unable to hit from three-point range. Hardaway's pass for Royal too tall. Anthony Avent and Dennis Scott returned with 1:09 left in the half. Royal and Bowie go out, and Donald Royal, his presence been a major factor. 11-point, make that a 13-point lead for the home team Magic, and Royal has 13 and 6 rebounds. Bogues, 3. He's short. O'Neal collects the rebound. 3 for Shaq. One-point quarter for Charlotte at this point, and we're in the final minute. O'Neal with a leaner and draws the foul. He's going to be called for it. Shaq is called for the offensive foul. Look of wonder on his face for a moment, but accepts his first.
Well, he says he's not going to say anything to the officials. You can see the little lean in and the pop with the shoulder right at the end to get that separation. Most of the time, the offensive player will get that call. O'Neal does not.
Curry has not had a hot first half, and it's one shot in Orlando the other way for Charlotte.
And that's always a problem for a jump shooting team, that you don't get a chance to get a second opportunity.
Bogues working right around that kneecap area defensively. It's Hardaway. Not there. Avent knocked it out of bounds with a second and a half remaining.
Hardaway knows he should have scored that one. Made a nice move, spun away from the defense, couldn't get the roll.
Bogues can't get the shot off. Right on target. So the Orlando Magic have not lost since the All-Star break, and Shaq O'Neal, a major reason, overcomes a painful knee bruise here in this first half, gets 11, and it's a 13-point advantage for the Magic. Stay tuned for the Prudential Halftime Report right after these messages.
5:30 Eastern, we're rolling to Phoenix. Charles Barkley is back in action.
I'm psyched.
He'll return to primetime television when he leads the Suns against Patrick Ewing and the Atlantic Division leading New York Knicks. The NBA on NBC Game of the Week today.
Showtime goes prime time.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
Well, it's halftime at the Arena, and the Magic lead the Hornets 58-45. Bob Costas back in New York with the doctor, Julius Erving, a 13-point lead, and on paper it should be about that easy, considering the fact that with no Alonzo Mourning, you have Frank Rakowski, Kenny Gaddison, Tim Kempton all trying at one point or another to guard Shaq.
Well, exactly. You know, on paper, this should be an easy game for Orlando, one in which they don't have to risk injury to their key players, and if they are to be a contender this year, they should serve notice to the rest of the world that the lesser teams in the league, the teams that are in the second tier of players, are not going to come into their building and have any shot of winning.
As Dick Enberg and Snapper Jones pointed out during the first half, if Orlando wins this one, and if the Knicks lose on the road later today at Phoenix, Orlando's just a game back of the Knicks in the loss column.
Well, Orlando is right there. You know, they're on a streak. They've won 6 games in a row. They get rid of this one today, it'll be 7 in a row. The Knicks are on the slide. They're playing a tough team, so they have added incentive. True.
Does it make a difference that Orlando has never, as a franchise, maybe individual players with other teams, but as a franchise, Orlando has never been in the playoffs?
Well, I think it's going to make a difference at playoff time, you know, but right now, the regular season is their playoffs. You know, they're on a high, they're on a roll. After the All-Star break, you know, Shaquille came out and served notice to the world, although he was slowed a little bit with the knee injury today. And Hardaway's playing well. I like what's happening in Orlando, and I don't think they're that concerned about the playoff picture at this stage.
Okay, a reminder that following the Hornets and the Magic, we have final round coverage of the Buick Invitational California. Our NBC golf crew will bring it to you from Torrey Pines beginning at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And following the golf, a nice matchup from Phoenix, the Knicks and the Suns. We'll preview that one right after a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. The golf is sandwiched in between two NBA games on NBC today. We're at halftime of the Magic and the Hornets. Then comes the golf, and then it's out to Phoenix at 5:30 Eastern Time, a matchup between the Suns and the Knicks. Title contenders, obviously, and looking back to last year when they each came up just a little bit short. Here's a preview. The Phoenix Suns and the New York Knicks are linked by last year's season-ending failures at the hands of the Chicago Bulls. They are also linked by their two stars, both green teamers, both lacking an NBA title to validate their greatness. When Michael Jordan retired, the Suns and Knicks became favorites to win the title. Today, they meet in Phoenix.
It's going to be a good game just because of the rivalry that we do have with the Knicks and being one of the better teams in the East and us being the better team in the West. And we just look forward to a hard, physical game.
Two competitive teams just going all out. I think sometimes when you go all out, things tend to get out of hand, like the incident that happened last year in Phoenix.
Here comes Rivers. Oh, Johnson and Rivers in a collision. Oh, look out. Here comes Rivers after Johnson. We have a free-for-all. Johnson blindsided Rivers. Rivers went down, and this could become ugly.
It did become ugly. 6 players were ejected from the game, and even more shockingly, Riley ripped his Armani pants.
Who I sent the bill to fix my pants?
After last year's game.
I did not pay much attention to them. I just left those in the trash can there. So somebody has them. Probably Barkley's wearing them or something. I don't know.
Unfortunately for Riley and the Knicks, Barkley won't be wearing Armani today. He's back on the court and leading his Suns, winners of 5 of their last 7 and losers of only 3 home games this season.
I think the game against the Knicks is going to be an important game for both teams. They need to certainly keep pace with Atlanta and Chicago and prove that they can win out in the West the second half of the season. And we're trying to catch the teams ahead of us and try to have the best record come playoff time. So there's no better testing ground to play against one of the better teams in the East, which is the New York Knicks.
The Knicks beat the Suns earlier this season in New York, but Barkley, Kevin Johnson, and Danny Ainge all missed that game with injuries. Both teams are healthy going into today's game in Phoenix, but the Knicks are slumping, having lost their last 3 to Seattle at home and Houston and Denver on the road.
All road games against, championship contenders are critical. It's a measuring stick for both teams. They did not have Barkley, nor did they have Ainge in New York or KJ, and we barely won that game. So they're healthy now. It seems as though everybody in the league is getting healthier, and it's going to, be a very competitive basketball game.
Well, Doc, the Knicks have never lost 4 in a row in 2.5 years under Pat Riley. That'd be the case if they don't win today.
They might have to brace themselves for that reality. The Suns should be heavily favored. The Knicks are struggling this week, even though the Suns have had a struggle themselves. I think the Knicks struggle has been a little greater. And I think ultimately after this game's over, both coaches are probably going to throw away the tape. If they meet again in the final, be in the finals, both teams will have to be playing well and playing with some momentum. And that's not the case with either franchise right now.
Knicks losers of 3 in a row, Suns coming off a 20-point loss at Utah. While Barkley was out, they managed to tread water pretty well. And remember, the Western Conference is tougher than the East, so Phoenix faces, on a nightly basis, generally tougher competition than the Knicks. And they went 8-9 while Barkley was out, and Cedric Ceballos got to reassert himself a little bit, getting more playing time with Charles out.
Well, they've been able to fare very well with Charles out, as well as with Danny Ainge being out and Kevin Johnson being out. And what you see is a style that is the contrast of the Knicks style. If the Knicks lost Patrick Ewing or John Starks, certainly they wouldn't play 500 ball. They like to play the power ball. They slow it down. They play the power game, and they play in low-scoring games, as is evidenced by the fact that they've only scored in the low 80s all week long with 3 games. Phoenix, a little more up-tempo. They're probably looking to blow the Knicks out, get the game in the 110-120 range.
For a stretch without John Starks in their last game at Denver, though, Pat Riley upset and yanked him like 2 or 3 minutes into the ball game as he became upset with the way Starks was playing. And that's what you get with him, a guy who made the All-Star team but is not consistent every night.
Well, I think you're getting a little frustration on the part of the players as well as on the part of the coaches.
Well, the Knicks and the Suns comes up following golf. Marv Albert and Matt Gukas will bring it to you at 5:30 Eastern Time. And at halftime of that game, I'll talk with the Spurs' David Robinson. The second half in Orlando still to come, and we'll rejoin Dick Enberg and Snapper Jones right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
And back at the Orlando Arena, where the home team Magic built a 13-point lead, their biggest margin of the game. They had a 12-point advantage in that second quarter, a close first quarter, and you just have to have empathy for the Hornets. You know, they're just playing with part of their arsenal sitting at home. Although the good news is that Larry Johnson, feeling better each day, has been practicing now, and that Alonzo Mourning will go on the next Western trip, and that he might play within a week.
Well, you know you own horses, and you know you got to have good ones. Quality is what eventually gets you a win, and the biggest prize here in Orlando is Shaquille O'Neal. And when O'Neal went down, there was a hush that came over this crowd, and that happened right at the outset of the game. He banged knees with Frank Brickowski, and that's what allowed the Charlotte Hornets to be competitive in that first quarter of play. O'Neal's return, and suddenly the game changes because they're pounding it inside, and a guy like Donald Royal said, this is a free lunch, and he is just sneaking to the basket. He's getting easy scoring opportunities.
All right, let's take a look at the Miller's Genuine Draft halftime statistics. And the field goal shooting, 50% for the Magic. The Hornets 43%, and Royal a perfect 4 for 4 with his wide open shot. A couple of putbacks, leads all scorers with 13. Rebounds a plus 12 for the Magic. And Hersey Hawkins leads Charlotte with 6, and with a loss of the two big men in the one area, you can point very quickly to Charlotte's demises. They just get one shot, and if they don't make it, it's the other team going to the other end. We'll be right back for the second half. Orlando, 13-point lead at the half. Dick Enberg with Snapper Jones and Hannah Storm.
Thanks, Dick. Brian, what did Shaq tell you about his bruised left kneecap? How does he feel, and how much will we be able to use him in the second half?
Well, it's bothering him right now. He's really feeling a lot of pain in it, so we're just going to start off the third quarter, see how he feels, and we're going to let him decide. If he can go, he's going to go. If not, then we'll just have to get him out of there and go with Tree Rollins at the center spot.
Will you continue with your first half strategy of putting the ball inside of Shaquille O'Neal? Other players, particularly Donald Royal, seem to be benefiting from that.
Well, we always try to do that and work off the double teams, and we've got to do a little better job of reading the spot ups and getting the ball out to the weak side of the floor. But as long as he's on the floor, we'll continue to go into him.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Dick?
All right, Hannah, a look at the leading scorers. Del Curry from outside with a dozen to lead Charlotte, with Hawkins, Bennett, and Conlon chipping in. Donald Royal looking for a season high. His best game of this year is 18 points, 13 already. Shaq with 11, Scott 10, Anderson 10. Good distribution for the Magic.
Well, Royal is saying, Shaq, just give me 5 more minutes. With me and you out on the floor, I'll get more than the 18 for a season high, because they are not guarding him. Eddie Johnson, and a foul against Dennis Scott right away.
His first. And the veteran Johnson to the line. Said something interesting to us yesterday in talking to the younger Charlotte players, having come from teams that have made it to the Western Finals. He said he's trying to tell these young Charlotte Hornets from day one, the toughest thing to do in the NBA is to win 50 games, to hit that 50 mark. That really separates you from the maddening crowd.
And the reason that he made such a point of that is because everyone was predicting that Charlotte would go to 50.
Hawkins inside to Gaddison, knocked away, and then out of bounds off Nick Anderson. So it's Anderson, Hardaway, Shaq O'Neal, Avan. Starting for the Magic here in the second half, along with Dennis Scott.
Eddie Johnson is a change along with Gaddison in that front line for the Charlotte Hornets. Bukowski starts
and shoots and hits. The newest Hornet pulls Charlotte within 10. 6 points for Bukowski.
This is the end where Charlotte really misses Alonzo Mourning the most. They miss his shot blocking and certainly the defensive attitude that he brings to the team, but they've got to force more turnovers in his absence.
Eddie Johnson on a dish from Vogue. So the first 5 points of the second half scored by Charlotte, and Brian Hill calls a quick timeout. Doesn't like this pattern a bit. Less than a minute into the second half, and his team's lead is melted by 5 quick points.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By Vicks NyQuil, part of the Vicks family of products. And by Coca-Cola Classic. Always the real thing. Always Coca-Cola.
Orlando Arena, 15,000 plus. Another sellout. This is their 5th year of the franchise, and obviously their most successful season. One in which not only assured of the playoffs, it would appear they think they still have a shot at number 1 seed in the East. Vogue talking Hardaway all the way down the court.
One thing that does is it takes time off the clock, and now you've got Shaquille O'Neal and the Magic with a 3-second violation. Trying to post up, and they never could get him to basketball. So Muggsy Bogues, when he's at his best, is disruptive, slowing the opponent down, and that was a factor in that possession.
What an inspiring guy he is. The 5'3" Bogues still has problems around the league, assuring security men that he belongs, that he can come into the locker room. Off the hands of Johnson, but deflected away by Dennis Scott. So 5 unanswered for the Hornets, and they get a chance to cut even further into the 13-point halftime lead of the Magic.
9 on the shot clock, so they got to get this one up in the air.
Bogues turns down the 18-footer, and now it's 3 seconds, and Bogues misses. Nick Anderson the other way for Orlando. Scott for 3, and number 3 can't hit that one. Avon with a rebound and a push underneath Eddie Johnson of Charlotte.
Notice when players will agree with officials when there's a chance that the opponent will score. Eddie pushed him because he knew Anthony Avon was going to have an easy scoring opportunity. Muggsy Bogues has got to be able to nail that jump shot. He's 1 for 8 so far, and most of his tries have been medium-range jumpers, and he has been short.
Jack starting outside, then working his way down into the hole. Kenny Gaddison giving away about 5 inches in there to the 7-1 O'Neal.
They want a post, and Bukowski came over and gave some real good help to Muggsy Bogues. So there's 7 on the shot clock.
Nick Anderson will trigger it in.
I noticed the PA announcer only announces that when the Magic have the ball. There's 7 seconds to shoot. Doesn't care whether the other team knows what the shot clock is.
Good defense again by Bukowski. Hawkins to Eddie Johnson. 7 straight points for the Hornets. So they're a buzz here early in the second half. And a turnover. So a 13-point lead down to 6. And now the fans in Orlando showing a bit of nervousness.
Trying to post Eddie Johnson. He's been able to get the ball against Dennis Scott, and that has given him at least an inside force. Bukowski trying to come to the hole, picked up a foul.
Off Shaq, his second.
Foul number 32, Shaquille O'Neal.
That'll send Bukowski. It was interesting talking with Bukowski yesterday and asking him, as you see this effort, O'Neal with a foul, as to how he improved, because out of Penn State he wasn't highly regarded. He was a 3rd-round pick of the Knicks, the 57th player taken, but Bukowski said the best thing that happened to him was an injury as a rookie. He had a severe tendon injury of the right wrist and couldn't shoot right-handed. He said, I spent my rookie year learning how to play left-handed, and that benefited him throughout his 10 years in the league.
Bukowski went from a guy that couldn't score to a player that eventually became a forceful inside player because of the development of the left hand.
58-54. Charlotte closing in. So get it to Shaq. A rebound, Hornets, Johnson. Off to Bukowski. Oh, got away with a travel. And it's Hawkins for 3. Eddie Johnson battling. It comes out to Bogues.
Well, the insertion of Eddie Johnson has made a difference in what they can do up front. He's been able to take advantage of Dennis Scott, draws a foul after he gets the rebound.
Avens third. So Charlotte taking over this second half, and with just over 3 minutes gone, Charlotte has shut out Orlando while gaining ground. And if Johnson makes these two, they're within a basket.
Eddie Johnson is not scoring at the rate that Dominique Wilkins is, but they're both 34 years old. They both believe that they're not done yet. They got statements to make. Eddie Johnson trying to make one here. He's got 7 points right off the bat in the third quarter.
He's in the top 40 all-time NBA scoring now, Eddie Johnson. Bogues on Hardaway. Hardaway said part of the problem was Bogues against you. Sometimes when I'm backing in, I can't find him. I don't know exactly where he is. Well, Bogues keeps an hand contact. You can feel him if not see him.
You can see right now that they are disruptive, and they have slowed down. Anthony Avent has been able to at least make some saves. They had Nick Anderson taking a real tough shot deep and flying on a three-point play.
His third, second team foul.
Gaddison gets the foul, his third.
You talked about the defensive effort of Muggsy Bogues, and as you said, yes, I'm grabbing, I'm touching shorts, knees, anything. I'm going to let you know that I'm here, but you notice what you have to do in order to protect the ball.
Yeah, Magic Johnson said, you know, you had to go and check your kneecaps after you played against Muggsy. He says, yeah, I know, it's a little softer down there. I'm going to let you know. Avent, 74% from the line, but his struggles in scoring since coming here to Orlando continue. He's 1 for 7 from the floor today. That makes him 9 for 37. That's under 25%.
You look at the Magic and you say what they need is a power forward that can be consistent. Rakowski way in the lane, but Anthony Avent knocks it down anyway.
3-point game. First point of the quarter takes 3.5 minutes for Orlando to score. Now it's Hardaway defensively on Bogues. Good job.
They're trying to pick up their defensive pressure and force him to play further out on the floor, but they're going to try to go through Eddie Johnson.
Rakowski from the free throw line cuts the lead to 1. What a quarter. 10 points now for Rakowski.
This is their game plan. Throw that ball into O'Neal and make the defense make a reaction. The ball is thrown too hard, bounces off to Anthony Avent. It's a turnover.
Charlotte down 56-45, 58-45 at the half, outscoring the Magic 13-1.
See, Dennis Scott is the guy that they're going to force to defend. Eddie Johnson had a good shot, couldn't score it, picked up the foul.
Second on EJ.
His second, third team foul.
They broke Dennis Scott down, and he's only 5 feet away from the rim right there. Missed it and trying to go after it. Comes over the top of Shaquille O'Neal.
Bogues and Hardaway matched again.
Rakowski is off, and he's the guy that's given the help.
Bogues hanging on a little too much that time. His first. You think there's a tendency just because he is so short at 5'3" that officials might give him a little more contact than most?
They better give him a little They better give him a whole lot more. Otherwise, he has no advantage. I mean, the fact that he has got enough heart to grab onto somebody tells you that he's a special person to begin with. But the way it's ruled in the NBA is advantage, disadvantage, and Muggsy doesn't really get a big advantage from holding on to anybody, but certainly it allows him to play.
Number 1 against number 1, and number 1 Hardaway tipped in by Avent. Slapped it in with the left hand. He has 5 points. 7 minutes to go in the third. Charlotte trails by 3. Ooh, a hold there. Avent twisting Gaddison away. His 4th foul.
Hardaway trying to take advantage of his size and makes an adjustment against Rakowski flying at him, and there's Anthony Avent. And that's where Charlotte has been getting hurt the entire afternoon. It was Donald Royal with the tips. Now it's Anthony Avent. They've got to make sure that they get a body on someone after they double up.
But Avent goes to the bench with 4 fouls, and Jeff Turner, the 6'9" veteran from Vanderbilt, is in.
Jeff Turner's a different kind of power forward in that he likes to face the basket. Gaddison trying to overpower him.
Kowski with a spot from the free throw line, unable to connect. Lead pass to Nick Anderson.
Rakowski is almost leaving on every chance to double up, and now he's singled on O'Neal.
And with 4 fouls or 3 fouls, he has to give O'Neal a shot, unable to hit. Bogues to Hawkins, streaking, and that'll be a charge. Hawkins with a charge as Turner had position. His second.
Hersey Hawkins was thinking three-point play all the way. He was coming right through and into Jeff Turner, figuring that he was going to get the call. He was surprised when the whistle went the other way.
Oh, O'Neal, and he unable to hit the short shot, gets it back and scores, and he's fouled. Kenny Gaddison, his 4th foul.
Now, Alan Briscoe is saying, why don't I get the same call at the other end as my guy got hammered on the way to stopping Shaquille O'Neal. Right here, Bukowski steps in the way. They wanted a call there. They don't get it. O'Neal's able to get his own miss, drop it in.
Shaq 1 for 2 from the line today, shooting just 53% on the season.
But what helped Charlotte get back in the game is their defensive presence, and then what they try to do offensively, going through Bukowski or Eddie Johnson to get a foul against Nick Anderson.
Nick Anderson on a push against Hawkins on the alley-oop, his first foul. 6:05 left in the 3rd quarter. The Magic 12 games above 500 this year, and Anderson with the development of Penny Hardaway moving to that number 2 guard, and that's really his spot, isn't it?
That's his spot. No one was happier to see Penny get the ball than Nick Anderson, because he is really a better scorer from the 2 position than the 3. He can be overpowered by some of the small forwards in the league, whereas he can overpower, and he's a lot quicker than a lot of the 2s. Gaddison out, Monty Conlon in.
As Hersey Hawkins, who has 8 rebounds, looks for his 10th point. (64-60) the Magic lead. Dennis Scott over Conlon. Well, he is a pretty shooter. In an open court, you don't want to let him really set up, because Scott is deadly.
Well, the confusion happened at the defensive end. Conlon ran out, and they didn't know who to get back to. That left Dennis Scott wide open for that scoring chance. Coming back to Eddie Johnson.
And Johnson, rebound Turner. With a 6-point lead, Hardaway takes him down court. O'Neal.
Bukowski gave him that one. Once he got in too deep and there was no help, he just backed off so he wouldn't get the personal foul.
Jack now with 16 points to lead all scorers. Bukowski won't fall, and Nick Anderson saves. Anderson gets the reward. Six unanswered by the Magic. 4:51 left in the 3rd. The lead back to 10.
Welcome back to Orlando Arena. In a classic case of life imitating art, Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Hardaway were actually teammates in a movie about college recruiting called Blue Chips before they were NBA teammates. The movie was number 3 at the box office last week. It's doing well, but Shaquille O'Neal told us he only rates his performance in the movie a B, and he told me he wants to star next in an action thriller. From this reviewer's perspective, I thought Shaq was charming and Penny was credible, but Dick, I think they have a better chance of winning an NBA trophy here than they do any Oscars.
We asked Shaq, too, just before the game, hey, now that you've made it in the movies, you know, Hollywood and all, any romantic roles on the horizon? And he just gave you one of those big $3 million smiles. He can have any romantic role he wants, apparently.
Well, you know, with the Isaac Hayes sideburn, he's working his way to a little romance.
And Brakowski. Points in the paint. Boy, that's where Orlando is winning this game.
Alan Bristow, painful at that turnover. He came out of that timeout and they had something set up and they didn't get the execution. Now they have to come back with a real good defensive effort. Let's see if they can reestablish what they were doing defensively that had the Magic confused, because now the Magic has figured out a way to drop the ball inside.
The Turner with 10 on the clock. And tipped in by Anderson. So a lot of easy putbacks and tips for the Magic with the undersized front line of Charlotte.
Once that ball goes in the air, the Hornets are going to have to find some people and make sure that they keep them away from the rim, because that's one thing that's really hurt them in this game this afternoon.
Hyland, a nice dish off to Eddie Johnson. And a block for O'Neal, but a recovery.
You asked how Marty Conlon is shooting a high percentage of plus 60% since joining this team. Stays right around the hoop. Picked up the garbage on that one.
8 points for Conlon. 10-point advantage, Orlando.
They want O'Neal to make a decision. Is this a good one? At least they got a miss. But no, that's a bad thing right there. But you cannot keep them from getting the ball back.
Another easy two for the Magic. 18 for Shaq. Use the reverb effect here on everything he does. Muggsy Bogues way off the mark. Shaq with an easy rebound, and again, it's a one-punch attack for the Charlotte Hornets.
Now they're trying to throw it into Penny Hardaway down low. But Dennis Doughton wins the three.
That's the biggest lead of the game now for the Magic, 15. With 3 minutes to go in the third. Hawkins gets the foul from Turner.
Anytime you try to go inside, you have to be aware of where Shaquille O'Neal is. They were not. And they were able to at least get the ball in from Conlon, but they have not been able to box any of the Magic off. And O'Neal, just a powerful effort there to throw it down.
He has 3 dunks in this game. He's averaging over 5 a game. Percy Hawkins, his 11th point. Tony Bennett in. Muggsy Bogues to get a blow here with 3 to go in the third. They like to rest him for the rest of the quarter and then have the 2-minute break between periods. He works so hard.
He does. Bennett gives them a truer perimeter player. He doesn't give them the push mentality that Muggsy Bogues gives, but he works hard defensively. So let's see if he can get some scoring where Muggsy has been missing that open jump shot.
They gave him some quick points in the first half. Turner.
That's Turner's spot right there, facing the basket, down on the baseline. He can set his feet. He can hurt you.
Averaging 6 a game on the year. Those are his first points. Curry inside, and the foul. Turner. All the tackle Conlon, his second. He's a happy daddy, is Jeff Turner, his wife Dee Dee, who played basketball at Vanderbilt, as did Jeff. Gave birth to a daughter, Allie, 8 pounds 4 ounces earlier this month. Conlon looking for his 9th point. As Larry Krystkowiak takes off the warm-up. Larry, who has just returned to the active roster, makes his first appearance. A reminder that coming up next, tune in live for the final round coverage of the Buick Invitational of California from La Jolla. 10 men within 3 strokes of the lead, so wide open the drama out there along the Pacific. Last touch by Nick Anderson.
Allen gets 1 of 2, and O'Neal goes to the bench, and the Charlotte Hornets have to really take advantage of the time that O'Neal is down. In this 2:30, they've got to try to get higher percentage shots and continue to go to the free throw line as a result.
Brakowski, and that was Scott who got a piece of the ball, so no whistle. Knocked it away, so Brakowski recovering and has a dozen. Well, the thing about Brakowski is when Mourning and Larry Johnson return, they feel now they've got to back up for both, and they'll be even stronger. Scott with a spin move. Conlon battles and rebounds. Bennett to Hawkins right at the timeline, and the fans wanted a backcourt violation. Curry for 3. Much needed by the Hornets, who now are within 9. 15 for Del Curry to lead his team.
Hardaway and Scott become the primary scorers for the Magic with this lineup out on the floor.
Rakowski ahead to Curry. Conlon running the floor, the 6'11" forward, and he is fouled, or no, they say knocked out of bounds. No foul.
That's a case of not quite enough foot speed. Marty Conlon was picking him up and laying him down as fast as he could, and he put a little too much spin on it. He was lucky that they get the ball back.
What are you looking at me for when you say picking him up and laying him down?
Well, the way you went after that coffee, you might be a little slow, too.
We were supposed to do catch the coffee in the air and get it back in the cup. Well, the defense of the Magic at work. 3 seconds now on the clock, and so the defense of Orlando forcing Charlotte into a tough position. Conlon hits from outside. Oh, my. Marty Conlon has 11.
So who is this Marty Conlon guy, Dick?
Yeah, from Providence, White Plains, New York native, not drafted. CBA player.
Started with the Sonics and went down to the Kings, and has finally gotten a chance to play with the Hornets, and he's played very well for them so far in the latter part of this season.
Turner with his basket, and then a foul. Kristoviak, his first. Larry Kristoviak, an outstanding student at the University of Montana, CTE academic All-America 2 times. Still has a lot of roots there in Missoula.
He has an intellectual look now about it.
The beard does do it. I thought you might go for that this year.
Mine won't grow anymore.
Since you're not going to go the earring route, apparently.
Every time the clock stops for the Hornets, they have a cheap chance to score, and they are now within 7.
Final minute of this third quarter. The Hornets have played tough, stayed within, although down by as much as 13 at the half and 15 here in the second half. Something wrong with the clock. They did not stop the 24-second clock, apparently. It's on 21 now with 50 seconds plus remaining in the quarter.
Alan Bristow taking a chance right now to do an extra coaching. The clock does not start at all. No. Now, it's maybe both a game and shot clock didn't start, but that's what's known as home court advantage. We're going to get us an extra 2 shots here before this third quarter ends.
Yeah, they've corrected it. 47 seconds left in the quarter, 18 on the 24. So it's the final round out in La Jolla. All the golf action, and that followed by the Knicks at Phoenix, 5:30 Eastern time. Keep busy here on NBC Sports on this Sunday. Bennett gets his second foul. New 24.
Hesitation moved through Bennett off. He thought that Hardaway was going to continue at that particular pace, and he was gauging what he could do, and ended up picking up the foul with a quick move by Hardaway.
Young man is 19 weeks younger than Shaq O'Neal, both just 21. That means in the year 2000, these two talented players for Orlando will be at their peak 28 years old.
So that means you have to hold Father Time off so we can come back down here.
I have a feeling we're going to be here a lot. NBC Sports will be watching the Orlando Magic as one of the major NBA teams for a long time.
Hawkins looking for a score right in here.
Without Shaq, he's able to fight for the rebound, but taken away by Hardaway. Plenty of time for the Magic to get a shot. Great pass to Kristoviak. There's the Magic. The Magic Johnson look of the Orlando Magic. 8th assist for Penny Hardaway. Well, that was a trade that's going to prove beneficial for both teams. Chris Webber with the Golden State. Muscle move by Brokowski.
Big quarter for Brokowski. He's got 12 and closes with a score.
Let's go off to commercial with an appreciative look again at Penny Hardaway's pass.
Hardaway seeing Krystkowiak creep right in there and slides it underneath for an easy 2. And it's a dazzling effort because nobody saw it coming.
A 9-point lead for the Orlando Magic as they seek their 7th consecutive win. We'll be back after a word from your local station.
Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Back at the Orlando Arena, the second period, the undoing of the Charlotte Hornets. Since the game before at home against Dallas, they made only one of their first 16 attempts in the second quarter. That's not been their period.
Everyone criticizes O'Neal for playing above the rim, but that's the high percentage shot. The deeper you go, the tougher your chances of seeing the ball consistently go in, and that's the problem for the Hornets. They become a jump shooting team, and that's when they find themselves in trouble at the offensive end.
5 on the clock as Skiles has to shoot it. Oh, tough runner. The man who followed Magic Johnson to Michigan State. 4 points for Skiles.
Shot clock at 7.
3. Not there. Jack gets it. The Orlando Magic play pretty good defense. And that's something you don't talk much about. They play good team defense.
Well, they've become a better defensive team, particularly out on the perimeter, because they know they have the last line of defense in O'Neal, who wheels inside. Now, when Gaddison has been in the game, O'Neal has gotten a lot more aggressive and taken the ball inside, an easy hoop for him.
He now has 20 to lead all scorers under his NBA leading average of 28.9. Gaddison earning his 2. He has 6. 11-point lead with the ball, the Orlando Magic. Skiles has it slapped away by Johnson. 8 on the clock. 6 to Scott. Scott batted back out by Turner, but no contact with the rim or backboard, so the 24 violation. Brian Hill, part of that New Jersey connection, played his high school ball in Orange. Played for Richie Adubato, and Richie now an assistant with Mike Fratello in Cleveland. Mike Fratello had Brian Hill as his assistant at Atlanta. What a group of terrific coaches around the league from that Jersey area.
Trying to come to Eddie Johnson again, and he gets Dennis Scott to foul him.
And with just under 10 minutes left in this game, a timeout.
Miller Genuine Draft presents Genuine Moments.
Today's Miller Genuine Draft moment takes us back to Game 4, last year's first-round playoff. Celtics and Hornets. Hornets up 2-1, trailing by a point, closing second. Alonzo Mourning hits this dramatic jumper to clinch the series for Charlotte, eliminating the Celtics 3-1. In recognition of this moment, Miller Genuine Draft donates $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. And as you alluded earlier, Snapper Jones, Alonzo Mourning, his presence offensively is one thing, but defensively, that's another 6 points to the opposition.
That is a huge factor for them because a lot of their game is played at pace, and they like to know that Alonzo Mourning is back there to deny teams from getting to the rim, and right now teams are able to get inside, score cheaply against them. Eddie Johnson has been able to control Dennis Scott at the offensive end. They started the third quarter with Eddie Johnson. They come back in the fourth, and if they can keep that matchup, they have a chance to get back into the ball game. Eddie Johnson missing from the line, which is kind of uncharacteristic for him.
One of the best in the league, a 10-point game. Johnson now with 10. Stolen by Curry and then taken back by Nick Anderson. 7 on the shot clock. Anderson with a solid move, but it won't drop for him.
Dale Curry is one of the very best at his position in playing in the passing lane. He almost got a piece of it, and then Anderson got it back and was in a mismatch against Marty Conlon. Almost got that one to go in.
Talk to us about Nick Anderson and how with Shaq and Hardaway he doesn't get the publicity of the other younger stars.
This was the guy that really got him started. Nick Anderson came out of Illinois as an underclassman and really was their first big signee and has had tremendous talent since then. And he has become a better player every year. And with O'Neal, it's much easier for him to score. And once they got Hardaway, it's even easier. And they had to make the adjustment in the lineup. Once they get that all settled in, they got 3 players that can score that will be very effective. What year is that, 2000?
That's right. Foul for holding on Nick Anderson, his second.
Officials and the crowd is saying, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm just trying to make sure that I had hold of Dale Curry," and he got caught. Now, they brought Donald Royal into the game, and that really will reduce the effectiveness of Eddie Johnson. So let's see where they start the ball game. Conlon against Jeff Turner.
Turner's third foul. Marty Conlon signed with a couple of 10-day contracts for now for the rest of the year. He has 11. He's been averaging 11 and a half.
Well, Conlon is a guy that just has to do everything with hard work, and I think he wants to make sure he worked hard enough not to go back to the CBA. That is an ugly-looking free throw stance. But remember, it's not the left arm that counts, it's the right arm. This left arm goes way out, but look at the position of the shooting arm right on.
91-81 Orlando. Magic are 14-0 at home when they shoot over 50%, and they're over 50 today. Talents of Anderson, not only we've seen him drive and make his moves inside, but he can be a very hot outside shooter as well. That one blocked by Curry. 5 on the clock. They talk about the 2.5 superstar rule. You know, Lakers have Magic and Kareem and then a half. If you could call James Worthy a half a superstar.
No, we call him 3. Now, see, that's why they were able to get the championship. So these guys have 3, and now they have to learn how to win. Once they do that, again, this could be a very forceful team.
There's Anderson off the front of the rim for the 3-point try as time running out on the 24. Marty Conlon with his 5th rebound. Curry with a quick pop, and he gets 3.
And why Nick Anderson was holding. So you can't let him loose. He's got 18.
Bennett and Skiles, the backup point guards at work here.
Illegal defense against the Hornets. That is a technical foul.
And that is a technical foul against Charlotte as Muggsy Bogues comes in for Tony Bennett. Alan Bristow was a great shooter at Virginia Tech. In fact, career at Tech, he averaged 23 a game. 6'7" forward, and Scott Skiles, a third best free throw shooter this season, just under 90% hits the technical.
Rakowski back in, Gaddison down. They're trying to get the 2-man game going between Scott Skiles and O'Neal. They pick up a foul. Dale Curry.
Rakowski was there as well, and it was Curry they picked out his first.
O'Neal sets a real good screen, and they don't get the center to jump out, so that allows Skiles to get in deep, and the weak side help, which was Dale Curry, did not cut him off. And this is what you don't want to see the Magic get a chance to do in the 4th quarter of play, shoot free throws. Scott Skiles, amongst the all-time leaders, it's the best way to make points. It's fine. if you can make them.
I said, hey, here you're one of the best. Can't you teach Shaq O'Neal how to get a better percentage?
He said, listen, Shaq O'Neal, I don't just go up to tell the guy who leads the league in scoring and everything else at this point how to shoot free throws. The time will come.
Rukowski out there. Conlon with a good offensive rebound and a trip, and the foul goes against Charlotte, or against Orlando. Skiles down in the scene, guilty of being close.
Well, he's one of those on-the-floor, floor-burn type of players, and he made a dive, but Conlon got there first.
7:55 remaining in this fourth quarter. A 10-point game. All from the West Coast. Understand another beautiful day out there in San Diego County.
You mean you live out there?
It's always beautiful.
I understand.
I know that's an easy one. I know. But we have had some rain, and boy, it's been shocking. A couple cloudy days. Eddie Johnson fires and rebound Turner. Royal, we had the big first half. Quiet here in the second half. Shaq over Bukowski. Rebound Bukowski. Clears to Bogues. Curry. He wanted that three, and Bogues found it. 92-80, 94-87.
They got an extra coach behind me. He was yelling hand up, and they didn't get there in time. And it's another three-point field goal. Dale Curry, he's starting to feel a little bit of the torch. They got to get to him. Offensive foul, Shaquille O'Neal.
The second offensive foul, and of course the big 305-pounder, when he moves forward, if you have some position, you should get that call occasionally. And Bukowski is still down. We'll get a report when we return.
NBA on NBC is brought to you by the all-new Ford Mustang. It is what it was, and more. By the U.S. Army. Learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold.
Let's go back to Shaq O'Neal crashing into the brick, and the old adobe crumbles when that big guy hits you, and he apparently had the wind knocked out of him.
You can see getting the smelling salts right there, but I've always told players, you don't play defense with your face, and he led with his chin, and O'Neal's forearm caught him, and you can see he's a little teary-eyed, but stays in the ball game.
6:59 remaining. Magic have led most of the game, close to first quarter, and then a big second period for Orlando as they outscored Charlotte by 12. Conlon moving inside. Tough play around Turner. Marty Conlon continues to shine. 15 today after scoring 16 and 16 in the previous two for the Hornets. Big time for Alan Bristow for a stop on this trip down, and instead an easy basket for Anderson. How many times in the game have we seen that, where they make an apparent stop only to see the Magic get an easy putback?
Eddie Johnson thought he had the ball but didn't go to it. As a result, Nick Anderson beat him to it and got an easy score.
Anderson with 18. Curry. Boy, that's a tough spinning one-hander. 23 to lead all scorers.
He just wanted Bukowski going to the hoop just to let him know that he didn't have to rebound. But that tells you that Curry now is real warm. Foul Dale Curry.
As Anderson again showing you that he's got inside and outside firepower. Chance to look at the final round leaderboard out of the Buick Invitational in La Jolla. Lowry still a shot in front of the local favorite, Craig Stadler. Hal Sutton just 2 back, and Ronnie Black looking for somebody to falter ahead.
Hardaway comes in the game. Anthony Bowie comes in. Anderson goes down. They've been surrounding O'Neal, and this is where Bowie is best on the spot-up shooter.
Anthony Bowie in and hits a two-pointer, 98-91 Orlando. The golf to follow our action here from the Orlando Arena. And after the final round at La Jolla,
We'll go to Phoenix for the Knicks and the Suns. And a victory by Orlando today would really put some added pressure on Pat Riley's club. Fourth foul on Shaq. And the fifth team, so Brakowski to the line.
Brakowski surprised O'Neal that time, and Shaq didn't really have a chance to get his feet moving and just whistled for a hand check.
Looking for his 17th point. He averaged just over 15 with the Bucks. That led Milwaukee. Conlon out and Gaddison in.
Well, Conlon has been spectacular this afternoon, and Kenny Gaddison hasn't really done that much. I know he's out for a quick breather, but he's been the more effective player between the two.
Write that one down. Conlon, spectacular. I bet he hadn't had that call too often in his career.
Well, when you consider where he's come from and the kind of effort that he's given us today, that is a spectacular effort. No, he didn't play above the rim, but he gave a tremendous effort.
98, 93. And Gaddison had Shaq before Shaq got the pumpkin. 5 fouls on Gaddison. Impossible task. Gaddison at 6'8", trying to hold back a man 5 inches and 55 pounds bigger.
You take away Conlon's scoring contribution, you get a huge hole on the scoreboard for them. And Kenny Gaddison, who was not expected to play, has been playing like a player who struggled.
Hardaway spinning away from Bogues. And the Magic have hit the 100 mark. 10 points for Hardaway.
They got somebody that's a little bit more defensive-minded on Dale Curry. And Muggsy is still trying to find that outside shot, so he's got to think about giving it up since he is not anywhere close to seeing the ball go in. Steal.
Now Bogues trailing by 7. Gaddison. Bogues 1 for 10 from the floor. Brakowski hits from the side. So out of some very negative times, often positive things developed. And with Mourning and Johnson down, as O'Neal is fouled by Brakowski, he had to stop him, and that'll be 4 on him. That sometimes for the future, and I know we all think short term, the fans especially, but the Charlotte team in the long run may find a couple of pieces that when the big guys, the dream teamers come back, it'll make them even better than before.
It should make them better. So you look at a guy like you add Brakowski, who now becomes a backup player for either one. If Marty Conlon can continue to play at his level, that takes some pressure off of the front line and scoring, because that's their weakest area without Johnson and Mourning.
Shaq gets 1 out of 2. It's a 6-point game. 4:17 to go. Hardaway and Bogues matched. Curry inside, and he handcuffs Brakowski, but last touch by Orlando.
The Hornets have made a quiet sneak up on the Magic. I mean, you look at the scoreboard, it's a 6-point ball game, 4 minutes left in the game. What they've got to do is identify where they can get a score every time down, and they can continue to cut into the lead.
5 on the shot clock. Bogues. Brakowski with 2.
They weren't aware of where the shot clock was, and they were running like they had 24 seconds.
Bowie beats the Hornets down court for his 6th point.
You got 3 guys that should be shooting the ball right now for the Hornets. Percy Hawkins, Dale Curry, Frank Brakowski. Let's see if they can find any one of those guys for a scoring chance.
And Turner goes down, but with it, he gets the foul as 4.
Anthony Bowie on his streak, and he's not going to be caught by any of the Charlotte Hornets, and he goes in for an easy score. And now there's Jeff Turner trying to hold, actually got wiped away by Brakowski. That's what Brian Hill, didn't you see him get knocked down?
Brakowski 6 for 6 from the line, and he scored 20 in his debut in that Hornet uniform. 103-96 Orlando. The Magic looking for a 7th win in a row to add to a franchise record, and Charlotte trying to snap out of a 12-13 losing straight. O'Neal with a rebound. 7-point Magic lead.
You know they're going to come inside to Shaquille O'Neal, and this is where you can really try to make them pay. They pick up a foul right in front of us. Lundy Bogues is saying, no way.
I had that. Second foul on Bogues.
There's your kneecap. That's your play right there, but he's trying to reach across, and they thought they had him tied up, but they certainly had Hardaway's vision of the other side of the court cut off with the double team from Kenny Gaddison.
Hardaway with 10 points in this game, 5.5 under his average. You know, one of the things I really liked in meeting Penny Hardaway for the first time was I was stunned by his knowledge of NBA history. Obviously, as a kid growing up, he really studied the pros ahead, the big players ahead. It reminded me of Magic Johnson. You know, when Magic was a kid, he knew more about the NBA than many of the players in the league.
No, that's right. And just like he said about Shaq in the All-Star game, it's never been done in the history of the All-Star game. They don't double and triple team. And so it tells you that he's been watching a lot of NBA hoops. Misses one of the free throws.
104-96. Knocked away by Shaq O'Neal from Brakowski. Hardaway on the move. Bowie open.
Can't give Bowie an open jump shot.
One of Billy Tubbs, former Oklahoma Stars, hits again, and with timeout, 2:53 to go, the lead is back to 10. Back at the arena where the Magic have a 10-point lead, just under 3 minutes to go. Orlando chasing the New York Knicks in the Atlantic. And at the start of today's game, just 3 behind New York, only 2 down in the loss column. New York is at Phoenix at 5:30 Eastern time today here on NBC Sports. Into Brakowski, blocked by O'Neal. Bowie the other way. And a foul. 4th block for Shaq.
O'Neal drops off his man to come over. His man, Kenny Gaddison, is no threat, so he comes down to help Jeff Turner, knock that one away, and Anthony Bowie on another streak sprints out. So it's been Royal, Bowie guys that they didn't think that would hurt them that have been a factor in this game. Picking up the slack for Hardaway, who's not had a big game as he's had over the last 7 since the All-Star break.
Bowie, one of the great stories in the NBA, actually was employed with the Houston Rockets as an assistant equipment manager when he had a training camp tryout back in 1987. 4.7 average for Bowie, and he has 10 in this game.
Bogues is trying to get a foul against Hardaway. He got bumped all the way, but he didn't get a whistle. Now, they've been coming through Bukowski, setting up Dale Curry
for 3. Well, he does make it look easy, doesn't it? 108-99.
The best way for them to get back in the game is to foul Shaquille O'Neal. You know, if they would just let O'Neal catch the ball.
Hardaway and the foul.
Because they're fouling all of the wrong people at this stage of the game, which is keeping the separation up on the scoreboard for them. O'Neal is shooting 50%. Hardaway much better than that.
Hardaway at 73%. Final round of used to be the San Diego Open. Now the Buick Invitational of California from La Jolla, with a handful of top players, a chance for the big prize. So that'll follow our action here from Orlando, and then the Knicks and Phoenix after golf.
Hardaway gets 1 of 2.
And it's a 10-point game with 2:08 to go.
Coming through Bukowski again.
Bukowski trying to shove the hand of Turner away as Hardaway backs off on him. Gaddison blocked by O'Neal, his 5th. And it's back to Shaq. Oh, that could have been something spectacular because O'Neal had all the momentum going toward the basket, and if the ball had been thrown a little lower, that one would have rattled all the way to Tampa.
They were trying to set up a play for Dale Curry, and Gaddison stepped in and caught the ball. As a result, O'Neal blocked it and then was on a sprint the other way, but couldn't get control.
Bowie staying close to Curry, denying the three, and Turner crowding Bukowski gets his 5th foul.
Now, Bukowski is feeling like Shaquille O'Neal. I can overpower this guy. You know, just get me the rock inside, because Jeff Turner has not been able to stop him from getting a deep post-up position.
21 points for Bukowski in his first Charlotte game, after only 4 in the first half. And he's 8 for 9 from the line.
He wanted to blend in. He wanted to be selfish in that first half in his first game.
Marty Conlon in for Kenny Gaddison. Charlotte hits the 100 mark, but they've allowed 109, and that's been the average allowed on the season. 1:38 to go. Hardaway at 6'7" handles the ball so deftly. Turner for 3. He's short, but there's another offensive rebound. Donald Royal. How many of those have the Magic collected today? 19 offensive rebounds. Many of those put back for easy scores.
And they come at critical times in the game when Charlotte has been building up some momentum defensively. Bukowski got a hold of it, but it was a diving effort by Turner, and they knocked it out of bounds.
.104, and Alan Bristow wants a timeout, trailing by 8. Orlando, the Magic, unbeaten since the All-Star break. They've won all 5 of their games, and 6 in a row. Curry, they set up the three-pointer, but he can't hit it. Rebound Turner. And we're in the final minute. Magic leading by 8. Turner for 3.
That's a shot that you, if you're a Hornet, want to see them taking, and he has not had the hot hand, so he's missed a couple of shots that would give them a chance to come back and score real quick.
Conlon.
Now they've got the wrong guys shooting the ball in the wrong places. They need quick three-pointers if they can get them. And they get Conlon shooting inside. They don't rebound, and it's Hardaway on the foul at the other end.
Bukowski commits the foul, his 5th, and Hardaway with the easy 2 on the move to the basket. And that just about wraps it up here for Orlando, as the Magic will go 33-20 with their 7th straight win, and Alan Briscoe's Hornets will be 23-30. They're 3.5 behind New Jersey for the 8th spot coming in, and 4.5 behind Indiana. Turnover, and Bowie converts, and a little frosting with 23 seconds to go.
And they did a great job on Hersey Hawkins. He wasn't able to get his shot until that one in the 4th quarter of play at the goaltending, so they were able to take at least one of their scorers out when they had Bukowski, Curry, and Hawkins out on the floor.
Hawkins with 14. So Hardaway will dribble it out, and Orlando's fans celebrate another victory. The Magic continue to win here in midseason, led by their star young players Shaq O'Neal and Penny Hardaway, the 2 21-year-olds. Let's go to Hannah Storm.
Shaquille, you went down early. You re-aggravated that left kneecap that you bruised on Wednesday night. How much of a problem was it for you during the game? Were you in a lot of pain?
It was pretty sore, Brian. Asked me if I wanted to sit out, so I wanted to play. Played hard, and we won the game.
Is it something that you anticipate might affect your play in any way in the future?
I don't know. I'm just going to rest, and whatever happens, happens.
Shaq, with the new starting lineup, since Avon has been starting and Scott, and since Penny has been at point guard, you guys have gone 7-1. Why has this particular group been so effective for you?
We're all young. We're eager to learn, and we're out there running and playing. And when you got a guy like Penny at the point, if you run and you open this much, you're going to get to the ball. So we're just playing hard, and we're just staying consistent.
All right, thanks a lot, Shaq. Go ice that knee, and we'll see you for your birthday next Sunday in San Antonio. Dick?
And he'll be returning to where he played his high school ball, San Antonio. We'll give you the top scores when we come back. O'Neal and Hardaway leading Orlando to their 7th in a row. 12.6 men for Orlando over 12. Shaq with 21. 23 for Bukowski in his debut. 26 Del Curry to lead the Charlotte Hornets. The final score, 114-103. Orlando wins it. Coming up next, stay tuned. Live final round coverage. Buick Invitational, California. For Steve Jones and Hannah Storm, this is Dick Enberg. So long from the Orlando Arena. This has been the NBA on NBC.
Across the century.